What is going on, guys? My name is Daniel Lewis, and in this video I'm going to give you guys 3 tips that I believe can be most beneficial to you to help you build your overall strength in squats. Now before we get into the video, make sure you leave the video a like so the channel can grow, and also subscribe if you're new to the channel. Now starting off with the most important tip in my opinion is I believe that you should be picking the squat that is most suitable for your goals. If you're new to squatting, you're going to know that there's a high and a low bar squat. The difference between the two is very slight, but the muscle incorporation is vastly different. Most instances, the high bar squat is going to sit on top of your traps, while the low bar squat is going to sit more on the upper of your middle back. If your goal is to improve athletic performance and also muscle development, then the high bar squat might be more beneficial to you. If you're somebody who wants to move more weight, if you're somebody who wants to get into powerlifting, then the low bar squat might be more beneficial to you. For me personally, I opt for the low bar squat, one, because I do like to squat heavy and it is hip dominant. But 2, I also tore my ACL about 10 years ago, and that's the reason why for so many years I struggled doing high bar squats, because I lacked the range of motion, I lacked the quadricep and the knee flexion to be able to do a high bar squat. But the moment I started doing low bar squats and I got my hips more involved, I was able to progress my weight up, improve my strength and my overall strength in squats. But to reiterate, if you're somebody who's looking for more quad development, the high bar squat is a great route to go. So at the end of the day, a squat will always be a squat, but how you feel most comfortable squatting and also what your end goal is going to be is very important to dictate which squat you should choose, high or low bar. So for tip number 2, most coaches as well as fitness channels will tell you that you need to squat more often. And that's not what I'm here to tell you. If your goal is to get stronger in squats and you're not squatting at least 2 to 3 times a week, you need to reevaluate how you're training and really focus on squatting more often. You should be implementing traditional squats, front squats, and pause squats. But that's actually not tip number 2. Tip number 2 is I want you guys to focus more on your hip training. Yes, your hips. La caderas. And I say that because most people who go to the gym and who train legs only think about legs in terms of quads, hamstrings, and calves. But the reality is that you need to really focus on your hips as well. When you see females doing hip thrusters, I promise you guys that hip thrusters are not only for females, but for males as well. And it helps translate to a better overall squat as well as a deadlift. So for me personally, what I like to do in my training is when I do legs, and I only do legs once a week, and that's only because my legs are fucking huge. Irrespective of the fact that my legs are huge, I only train legs once a week. The reason I do that is because I know I'm squatting at least once a week, and then I'll do my accessory work during the week as well. And typically my accessory work will be calf raises, leg extensions, leg curls. When one of my days is focused primarily on my quads and my hamstrings, the next training session that I do legs, I'm gonna be doing hip thrusters, I'm gonna be doing the 2 hip abduction machines, just because I know that I need to make sure that my hips stay strong. When you're doing your hip thrusters, make sure you do it with purpose. That means that when you're at the top of the movement, squeeze your fucking cheeks. Squeeze them. I'm telling you guys, hip and glute strength is so important for you guys to improve in your squats, whether you're doing high or low bar. Because ultimately, I know you're probably gonna be doing leg extensions, I know you're gonna be developing the quads, but if you're not focusing on your hips, you're never gonna be able to push more than you actually want to. And for the last tip, I want you guys to focus more on your breathing. And I know that that's not something you generally hear people talk about when it comes to squats, but it's so important that you time your breathing correctly. I wanna refer you guys to one of my personal favorite YouTubers, but as well as powerlifters, Russ Swole. If you watch how the man squats, I think that that is literally the most perfect squat that I have ever seen. He takes a deep breath right before he goes down in a squat, holds it at the bottom, and releases at the top. It's so important that you focus on your breathing when you squat because that helps you brace your core. I highly suggest that when you start doing your squats, that right before you go into the movement, if you're here, brace yourself, go down, and on your way up, at the top, release. And then once again, and back down. I'm telling you, breathing is so important when you're doing your squats because if you're just kind of just like, you're gonna be exasperated, the weight's gonna be a lot harder to move, and I promise you guys, It's just a lot more difficult if you're not focusing your breathing. But with that being said, I know it's a shorter video than you guys are used to, but I hope you guys found tremendous value behind it. If you did, make sure you leave the video a like, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Now I'm starting like a big time.